section. Now the first, if you can see on your screens, is the factual information questions. Now in reading section, the factual information questions are basically to check your knowledge, where you can identify the explicitly stated questions or answers or not. Now, the factual information, you would find it on the passages itself, explicitly stated there. So it's not very difficult to find out such questions. Then comes the negative factual information questions. So they ask you to differentiate information that is true or which is not true. So you have to differentiate between the two factual informations given to you, which one is true and which one is not. Next comes the inference questions, wherein you need to see whether the information that is implied is not stated explicitly there. So you have to infer out your answer from there. Next is the rhetorical purpose questions, which ask why. So you can identify rhetorical purpose questions where if you see why in the question. Then comes the vocabulary questions, which are based on the words and the word meanings. So clearly you can identify the questions as well. Then you have reference questions, wherein you will be given a reference in the question from the passage, and then you need to identify and answer the questions. Then the next category is the sentence simplification questions. Now, the sentence simplification questions would want you to simplify a particular sentence. They would give you a few options. From that, you have to use another option for the same sentence without changing the meaning. Next comes the insert text questions, wherein you have to identify major you have to actually identify and provide a new sentence and they'll ask you to provide and place it at appropriate places. Then comes the prose summary questions. And last of all is the fill in the table part, right? So you have to fill in the table with correct options. Whatever answers you choose, you have to fill in, and very accurately, appropriately, and carefully, you need to answer these questions. Now, how can we score high? Now, the strategies that you need to. Now, students, being a teacher, I should recommend read the entire comprehension passage. But here, I would not say that. I would say do not read the passage. Do not read the entire passage. Because if you'll read the entire passage, you'll fall short of time and you'll not be able to answer the questions. So, best technique you might have learned in school also. Skim. There are 3 S, if I say. Skim, scan, and skip. Now, skim, scan, and skip. First of all, skimming the required information. Scan the entire passage once. Give it a glance, and then skipping the passage in between. Now, if you will read the entire passage, as I said, it would take a lot of time and you'll not be able to manage your questions. So you need to manage your time accordingly. So what you can do and how will you manage the passage and the questions side by side? For that, you can do the first minute of your time given to you, that is 20 minutes per passage. What you can do is, the first minute, you can read the heading of the passage and the first line of the paragraph, of every paragraph rather. Now, once you read the first line of the passage and the heading of the passage, you'll get the idea, you'll get the main idea of the passage. Then when you start reading the first line of every paragraph, you will get the idea what the person is actually trying to discuss in this and what all ingredients it has. Now, again, when you start attempting the questions, first 6 minutes to 20 seconds, 6 minutes, 20 seconds, in that 6 minutes, 20 seconds, you need to do questions 1 to 5. And next 6 minutes, 20 seconds, questions 6 to 10. Then again, next 6 minutes, 20 seconds, you need to manage question 11 to 14. Now, this can be done once you practice practice it a lot, and then you can manage time easily. Now, children or the students or people, those who take TOEFL, they are habitual of reading the passage. I reiterate my point here that you need not read the entire passage. Skim, scan, and skip. Scanning, you can identify the keywords in the questions. You can see the questions first and then see the keywords which are present there. And then go back to the passage. Because you have already scanned it, you would easily find the words there and then you can answer the questions. Now, another important thing that you should always keep it in mind is to identify the question type. Now, 4 to 5 questions in every passage are detailed questions, wherein they will ask you the detail, the inference questions, or wherein they would require details from you. Now, if you attempt these questions correctly, 32% of your reading score, if attempted correctly, would be for sure shot there. So I insist that these questions should be done carefully. Now, let's start with a sample question, reading the passage. Now here, the passage, the part of the passage is there. It is not the entire passage, but it is a part of the passage. So let's read one line, one entire sentence here. Archaeology delivers traces of dance from prehistoric times, such as the 9,000-year-old Bhimbetka rock shelters, paintings in India and Egyptian tomb paintings depicting dancing figures from 3,300 BC. Rest, I want you people to scan. I hope you people have done. Now, I hope you people have done that. Now, let's move on to the questions. Now, according to the paragraph 1, why was dance used to pass stories down between generations? Now, you can see the options. A, because it was more expressive than writing. B, because writing had not been developed. C, it was a good way of depicting stories from myth. D, dances could be shared between tribes. Now, I want you people to guess the correct answer. One. I've received one response, 2 responses, 3. Yes, people are responding. It's good that you people are actually participating in it. So most of you say C. I want you people. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Now, most of you here have typed C here, which is a wrong option. Now, why is it so? Now, if you see, refer to the 3rd line of the passage, which you might have scanned. Yes, I have received one correct answer. Yes, Shroff from Mumbai. Yes, Shroff. Good job done, dear. Let's see how we can find it out. Now, refer to the 3rd line of the passage, which says, before the production of written languages, dance was one of the methods of passing stories down from one generation to the next. Now, if you see, because it was more expressive than writing, so writing was the key word here, or the phrases. Now, although it was there, if you can see the next option B, because writing had not been developed, right? So although, so here you can see that because writing had not been developed, that was the reason why the dance was used to pass stories down between generations, right? So let's move on.